G'day, I'm Pete and I'm the Aussie Bush Cop. I'm going to be sharing with you some stories about my time in the New South Wales Police Force. I had a tumultuous time as a police officer up there, and because of that I decided to retire and move to this beautiful island in the middle of Bass Strait called King Island, where I became a homesteader. I had chickens and ducks and Highland cattle and a whole bunch of stuff going on where this is my cure for being in the New South Wales Police Force, and look forward to sharing my stories with you. G'day, how you going? Thanks for joining me again. The last couple of stories have been on the serious side, but of course policing, you meet people in the most unique junctures of their life. And this story I'm going to share with you, hopefully you might get a laugh out of. You've got to bear in mind that policing has a sort of a unique slant on humour. Some people call it black humour. Probably nurses and fire brigade officers and ambulance officers might share the same sort of humour. But anyway, hopefully you might find it amusing. In a place like Dubbo, the place is just full of characters. And this particular story involves a bloke that I'll call Ronald. It's not his real name. And Ronald was one of our customers, you might call. But not that he was ever, from memory, anything nefarious in our contact with him. He just seemed to need help every now and again. Anyway, Ronald lived in a public housing area, and he lived in a bottom floor unit of complexes. And this particular day, leading up just before this, I'd been to Ronald's home, and he was showing me or telling me that he'd become engaged. And Ronald was probably in his 40s, I'd say, that he'd become engaged. And I was genuinely happy for him. His fiancée was there, and she showed me her ring. And being a pragmatic bloke, I thought, I wonder how he decided what size ring to get. But he'd solved that problem because he went to a shop, and you know those bubble gum machines that might be at the front of shops, and you put in 20 cents and turn the handle, and a ring falls out with a piece of chewing gum attached to it. They're multi-size, you squeeze the ring and it fits the finger. And that was the engagement ring that Ronald got his fiancée. And I guess I need to say that Ronald was not about to cure cancer. His IQ just wasn't there where he was about to cure cancer. But he was a harmless sort of a bloke. Anyway, a few months later, we got called back to Ronald's house. And this time it was urgent. In the New South Wales Police, urgent means you respond with lights and sirens. And that's always exciting. I'm not a sort of bloke that enjoy driving fast, but I defy any male to not want to drive a police truck with lights and sirens going around the corners sideways, all the rest of it. It's just plain exciting. But of course, when you get there, things change. You know if you're going to something that's just going to be god-awful. Anyway, we got to Ronald's house this particular day. It was in the middle of the day, and there was lots of people around, and Ronald was inside supposedly committing suicide by gassing himself with the stove. And Ronald, as I said, he wasn't about to cure cancer, but he knew to put blankets over the windows, and there was blankets across the windows and the doors to keep the gas in. And I went up to the door and I'm knocking on the door. Ronald, it's Pete. Come out. And the last thing that I wanted to hear was silence. And I can remember trying to kick the door in, but it was a really well-made door and I couldn't actually kick it in. So then I got out the batten, the long batten from the truck, big, spun aluminium batten about, a metre long, and I smashed the window right near the lock on his window so that I could get to the lock and open the window. As soon as I smashed the window, I heard him inside screaming, hysterically screaming. And of course, that's what I wanted to hear. I knew he was alive. Anyway, so I smashed the window, opened the window, went in through the window. We had an ambulance already on scene to care for him. So I took him out and I went and put him into the care of the ambulance officers. In Australia, we call them AMBOs. Anyway, I then went back inside, very aware, very switched on that the house is full of gas. I was wearing a top that was somehow acrylic in it, and I know that can have static electricity built up in it. So I went in there with the immediate intention of getting rid of all the gas and not sparking an explosion with me in the middle of it. Very tense. So I went in there, and I know that when I was in there initially that I couldn't smell any gas. But when you have adrenaline screaming through your system, like I did, your body switches off some of your senses, and it's because preserving blood supply to your brain and to your big limbs. Anyway, I went in there and I opened up windows and doors, still aware that I couldn't smell any gas. I could see the kitchen, and I could see the oven with the door open. I then went over to the oven to turn off the gas, only to see that it was electric. I've never been so glad to see an electric stove turned up full. Like I said, Ronald wasn't about to cure cancer.